Hello, CC community. It is cycle 2, week 3 upside down drawing, and we are going to do a lion. You may have seen the simplified version of this in another video, and we're just taking it up a notch for those upper level students if you would like to do that. As I mentioned in my previous video, that sometimes you'll see that they take the image and they'll turn it upside down and just reveal a portion at a time. That can work. I like to show the image as a whole and then look at the overall shape so I can see how these shapes, these oils that we're looking for, these curved lines, these circles, these dots, these angled lines, how they're all working together so I can kind of plan out things. Having to remind my brain, this isn't a lion. I am just simply looking for the shapes. So I want my eyes to look for the shapes and not to get caught up in what my brain thinks. Oh, it's a lion. Just draw a lion. So 2 sheets of paper if you're using my favorite Sharpie. You can also use a black crayon or a pen or a water-based black marker. I just love how intense the color is with the marker. So, all right, let's use our hand as our tool of measurement, and we're gonna draw a dot here for our chin. And while we've got our fingers there, we can go ahead and draw 2 more dots right here on these fingers to get this U shape. So just making sure that those line up. And then I'm going to come up here, or actually down, and draw some dots over here. This is going to be the top. So now I've got this triangle that I'm looking at here, and so I'm creating that on my paper, but this is not a hard triangle, or like on the other one we did a really hard rectangle. We're softening it up, we're getting it to look more realistic. So we're letting our eye look at what's the overall shape. Now how can we create that and kind of soften these lines? So I see that it's going to be a little bit wider here. So I'm going to come into the middle of these dots, and if you would like to use, maybe use a finger to measure where this dot is and come up, and you're going to put a dot there that kind of draws it out. Then use this finger as well on the other side and put a dot on the opposite side that's furthest away. So now we're going to take these lines that we have and start connecting them all together. So first let's use these here and let's create our U shape. And then we're going to kind of curve this one in and then bring this one over here. So, and we can look at what we have going on here. They're upside down of how this line, this curved line is moving. So I'm going to curve over. I'm going to curve over. And then we're going to connect these and have an arch up here. And each time you do this, it's going to look very different. Well, at least for me, right? Okay, so then another shape I see here is this triangle that we have represented for his nose. But remember, we're not seeing the nose. We are looking just for the shapes. So we're gonna come about 1 finger down, and we're going to measure here. We're gonna draw that triangle like so. You can fill that in with your black writing utensil, and then we're going to connect that line over here. Connects and connects, okay? And then when I look on here, inside here we've got these curved lines that are going out, so we can do those. They're kind of going, when we're looking here, they've got a little bit of arch going up. I'm going to use a light hand to do that. And you could use a crayon at this point or something if you want to get a little bit lighter in color, but marker is just fine. So 1, 2, 3, And then we've got the same thing on the other side, curving out, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then moving down, we've got some more curved lines right here that connect to our circles and dots. So we're gonna use our finger again to measure here. And these are basically just circles that are squished. So we can call them ovals, right? I'm trying to show you a scrap sheet of paper. If they have a scrap sheet of paper to the side, they may feel more comfortable. You know, so we're not doing a circle, but we're gonna do an oval, which is just a squished circle. And we're gonna angle one to the one side and one to the other. You could even use dry erase boards and something if you want to warm up with this exercise. So using my finger again as a guide, doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to put maybe two, let's do 2 fingers. This head's a little bit bigger than that one. I'm going to put a dot here and then come over and put a dot there. That way I know I'm kind of centering up. This is where I'm going to connect those ovals at my angles here. So I'm going to do oval and oval, and then inside I'm going to draw a circle that's going to be in the middle of here. So I'm going to do circle, and I'm going to do another circle, and then inside there I have almost a dot. I left little bits of white showing just to get some of that reflection. Sometimes it's hard to do when you've got the Sharpie. Okay, so now I'm going to connect these points back to my triangle here. If I follow that, and I'm just going to, this is got some curve into it, and if it ends up being straight, that's okay too. So we can curve that and curve that. Okay, now I've gotten everything that's inside of this pear shape, and then I'm going to do the circle or curved lines here, and it's just 1, 2. So we're doing 2 layers there. So as you're doing it, you would do it and then say, now it's your turn. So watch me as I do this. I'm going to come up from these ovals and circles and dots that we drew, and I'm going to line that up close to here. So I'm going to do curved line, and then I'm going to come and do another curved line next door to it, leaving a little bit of space, curved line, and then the same thing on this side. So curved line and curved line. Okay, so now I have all of the Sharpie in place for this. We'll turn it around. There we go. And so now it's time to add the color. So I used a green for his eye, and then I used 2 different, a dark brown and light brown. So then you can color in their eyes. And I love oil pastel. If you've watched any of my other ones, this is a water soluble one. You can just get regular oil pastels. I love the intense color that they give, but you are free to use crayons. Markers would be hard to do just because you've got so much space to fill and you don't necessarily have a lot of time in class. Your crayons could even give you some good texture. You could even color in the face, and then you could come back and maybe put it up against like a cement wall, like if the facility where you're meeting has block walls, and you could do that for the texture of his mane. Okay, so super fast. Remember, this is like low budget filming here in my kitchen, so I don't have I'm not doing all the editing and stuff. I really am just like uploading it straight to YouTube. So you get the idea. We're coloring this all in. I think this one's gonna look better than that one. Right now, I guess you could call this a line S. Now, you can also talk about blending colors if you would like to, since this is geared more toward the upper level students. You can do a darker color here in the ear. Then we can blend that with some of this light color, and then do just the lighter on the outside. And same for here. One thing about the water soluble oil pastels, this is Portfolio series. They blend really well, so even can come back and darken that. Then you can do some shadowing like on their chin here. And they just layer really well. You can even do some, make it a little darker underneath, like where the snout or the nose would be, and just blend that in. If you have students that are like rushing through it really quick, are like, I'm done. You're like, okay, let me see it. Oh, that looks great. Let's make them look stronger. Can you color in everywhere? Because I see there's white. I see some white poking through, and so it's like just take your time. You don't use really big strokes. The tighter the strokes, probably the better coverage you're gonna get. So then we're gonna put all this texture on with the mane, and you can simply, it's just lines. We've got different lines going, and they are very haphazard, and so you just start adding in the lines. These kind of go up, the lines on the line. As it starts coming to the ears here, then it's starting to curve down. It's curving down, it's kind of falling to the ground. And then you can add in some of that darker brown. Now to make this look like this mane is actually with this lion, you want to fill it in some more. So taking the color that you used for the head, it just kind of gives this illusion, this really dense, thick mane that he has. See the difference there? Getting that color up to it versus having the white that's in there. So following all around with that, and then you can come back with that darker brown and hit some more highlights as well. So if you're just using a regular box of crayons or something, like yellow and brown would work well. You can make it darker down here. We can even put some yellow in now. Got this nice golden one. So, like so. All right, so we did our upside down drawing. We were focusing on looking at shapes and not letting our brains tell us you're drawing a lion, you're drawing a lion. We were simply looking at the shapes. So there you go. And obviously there's similarities, but there's differences as well, because I did different measurements with this one, but it still executes the same. So theirs may look more on this proportion with their hand sizes. So there you go. Richard the Lion-Hearted, or your carnivore. All right, have fun creating art with your community or with your child at home.